All right. Hello, BU. We are going to get started here tonight with our Monday night team call. And I'm Jamie Haskin, and I want to talk to you guys tonight about just how to, we're getting our people joined and how we're going to best set them up for success. So that goes everywhere from what we're saying to them right away, and then how we are getting them started on their products, how we're following up with them specifically. So we're going to dive into that, and I'm going to start with the assumption that everybody is telling your people about the triplex, because that is where it's at, right? We all know that that's where we got the blood sugar balance, the gut health, the inflammation. I know back in the day when, even a little bit before I joined, I think they were really pushing for Slim and Accelerator, and that was just what they knew. So that's what they told people about. And I think there was quite a bit higher attrition rate, and people just didn't see as much in terms of results. And that's because it wasn't getting to the root of a lot of health issues that are going on. So that triplex is really key. That's not to say Accelerator isn't a good product that you could add in, but we really want to get people started with that core product to get for their health. And then we also want to make sure we're mentioning additional products as well. So not only just telling someone about the triplex, but also not being afraid to add in other products that they are going to really benefit from. So maybe it's the X Factor, the multivitamin, because everyone should really have a good multi, and we know that ours has that aloe that's going to absorb 4 times more of your nutrients. Whether it is the Mega X that's going to help with sleeping at night and just having those important omegas. Maybe it's combating some really big inflammation and they need ease. So make sure you're not afraid to add in additional products that are going to that they're also going to want to start with. So whether or not they start with them immediately and they want to just say, no, just start with the triplex for now, that's fine. But at least you have mentioned them now, because you will bring that up later to them down the road. And I'll get into that a little bit more as well. How soon do you bring up products? I bring them up right away, because you talk about the triplex, but I don't think it's too overwhelming to at least bring up one other one, because there is so much that people need. And like I said, everyone's usually knows the importance of a good multi, or maybe they really have some inflammation or something else going on. So I'll talk more about later about why, but if they need that in terms of helping with their success, bring that up right away instead of waiting later after they already are in it for a month or two and then bringing it up. It's going to help. So and you don't want to underestimate people in terms of thinking that it's going to overwhelm them or they're not going to want to spend that much money. That's us kind of putting that into our thoughts, into our minds about what they're going to want or what they're going to do. You never know. They might want to start out right away with adding in the X Factor. You don't know, what people are going to want to start with. So definitely don't be afraid to do that. And so we talked about the triplex. They're going to talk about an additional product that you want to add in there as well. At least mention one other one. And then also, I'm going to assume that you're starting at people with an ambassador. If they're starting with a triplex, we're probably going to be mentioning that they're going to join for the wholesale cost, because that's the best route. And then in terms of health goals, that's also what we want to make sure we talk about right away, because that way you know what to recommend. They see the value in the products, you're going to relate that to them. And you also know as they start their products what to expect. So and don't be afraid to give examples too. Like, are you struggling with XYZ? And give them a list. Like, mention migraines or digestive issues or skin issues or just sugar cravings or better sleep. So don't be afraid to mention some things, because sometimes people have a one-way track with weight loss or one specific thing. But if you mention some examples, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, that's me. And then you can get an idea of where they're at. So if you have that idea, then you also know as you're starting with products, like if they have a heart issue or they're pregnant, they really shouldn't be taking Accelerator or Boost. So some of the specifics of what, they can or cannot have, or how to start them on the products. So, and we'll get into that in a second. And then set them up for success right away by telling them what to expect. Tell them, you're going to be giving this 4 to 6 months. This is going to take time and consistency. This is not a quick fix. You don't want people starting the products thinking that, oh, I'm going to try it for a month and, hoping to see all the results that I want to see. Set them up from the beginning that way. So when you troubleshoot with them later or things come up later, you can bring that back up. Remember when we talked about this? So start that right away. So once they've joined, the welcome letter is a really good tool to use because you can duplicate that down. So they can, whether you have, as you get bigger with a team and you get deeper and deeper, you have the same information being duplicated down. But don't let the welcome letter take away from your conversation with them. Take the time to tell them how to start as well, because some people don't read the welcome letter. Let's just be honest. So take the time to reiterate how they're going to start their products. Get on the phone with them, message in your 3-way chat, whatever it may be, but explain that out. And then you're also going to, okay, so when they get their products, talk about, I know that excitement is going on. So use that excitement when people get their products in the mail, and don't hesitate to ask them to do a post at that time. So if, they're getting their products, they're excited, say, hey, what do you think about putting a post up there? You could take a picture of your products. I could help you and tell you exactly what you could write, and just basically say you're excited to get started. You can mention some of my health goals and just see if anybody want to do it with you. Sometimes you never know what your friends or family are going through, and maybe they'd want to try it with you. So don't be afraid to introduce that at that point, because that is the most exciting time. They're getting their products, they want to get started, and that is a great time to catch people with sharing a little bit and tapping into their network and helping them get to silver, or saying, maybe, it would be awesome to help you get your products paid for, or something like that. So definitely make sure to mention that. And then in terms of the products, we're going to start slow, right? So we are going to introduce one product at a time, because I know back in the day, they didn't really know that when they started the triplex, and you start all at once, and that is not the greatest thing, because someone could go through more detox that way. So we want to start people off at one product at a time, and you're going to want to follow up with people regularly so you can best help them through that process. So one, use the 3-way chats. They're there for a reason. They're there for third-party validation. They're there because you can best get help from your upline, from your sponsor, in terms of how to help the people. And it's good for training. So you can get basically training as you're learning about how to, what questions to ask and how to start people off. And then you can then duplicate that down. So make sure you're following up so that you can best help people start off slowly. So when they first get their products, even before they get them, you can say, hey, make sure to send me a message when you get them in the mail. So maybe they'll come to you first. Otherwise, follow up. Say, hey, did you get your products? Did you get started with your Slim? See how that's been going. As they add in one product at a time, you're going to kind of follow up after a few days. That first month is going to at least be once a week, because you want to be able to catch things as they come. You want to catch if they're having any problems, if they're not, if they're getting discouraged, if they're being inconsistent, if they're doing good. You want to catch all of that when it's happening, as opposed to a month later. So as you do that, and don't give them the injustice of not doing that, of not following up, because you're not just sending someone to sign them up and to let them go. We're doing this to help people, right? You're helping your friends and your family. So we're really, really doing them an injustice if we're not following up regularly, if we're not doing our best to help them see success. And keep track of people. Everyone has a different system, so you can use the, like Excel. I know Brittany has a great one in the team page. You can use Excel on the computer. You can use a good old-fashioned handwritten planner. You can use your phone, and whatever it may be. But you can keep track and figure. If I reached out to this person this day, I'm going to next reach out to them this many days later, and keep track of that, because that makes life a lot easier. And you could even keep a notebook and write down their goals, write down their updates of how they're feeling. So you can have, a system or a notebook or a binder, things like that as well. And then three-way chats I mentioned. Okay, so how are you following up? You're going to be asking the right questions when you follow up, and that boils down to a lot of times 4 specific questions. First one, are you being consistent? Are you taking it every day? So asking that specifically. You cannot ever assume that people are doing what you told them to do. So specifically ask them, are you being consistent? Second one, how many of each product are you taking? Again, no assumptions. So ask them, how many of each product, how many pills are you taking? And they're going to come back and tell you, 2 BioCleanse, 1 BioCleanse, 2 Bio 5, 1, whatever it may be, ask. And then the third question, when are you taking each product? Again, don't assume they're doing what you initially told them to do. When are you taking each product? And then the fourth question, how much water are you drinking? Do not ask, are you drinking enough water? Because that is a very subjective question. People will say, yeah, I'm drinking tons of water. What does tons of water mean? That could mean a very, very different thing to many different people. So ask specifically, how much water are you drinking? And then you can, from there, figure out if that is enough. So let's go through some hypotheticals. So you reach out and you say, okay, how are the products going? You've been doing this for so long. How are you feeling? How's it going? They respond, doing good. So first and foremost, ask more questions. That's a great response, right? But we can get more information from that. So don't be afraid to ask, have you noticed any changes? How are you doing with being consistent? How many products are you taking of each right now? Getting those nitty-gritty details is a good thing. If they've noticed changes, you can celebrate with them. If they're not being consistent or whatever they're taking of each product, you can find out those details so you can best help them now. Ask about poop. Yes. How many times are you going a day? Don't be afraid to talk about poop. Love it, Shelly. Because it's true. We need to talk about those things. So don't be afraid to ask those questions. And then if they're doing good, we are working our way up. So that's what I was going to talk about earlier, and I did talk about nitty-gritties, but you're going to be starting slow with the products, meaning you're going to start with slim, wait a few days, 2 to 3 days, add in a couple BioCleanse, wait a few days, add in the ProBio 5, couple ProBio 5 too. So as they ease into that, that's when you're going, and they're doing good on these products at this point, you're going to be upping that. So we want to up our BioCleanse to up to 4 and work our way up to ProBio 5 up to 4 as well. But you don't do that immediately. So you can say, okay, great, how many products are you taking of each? And then you can up to the 3 BioCleanse. If they get to a point, and you can tell them, if you get to a point where, here's the poop again, if you are going too much, if it's too runny, if you're feeling like you have a little diarrhea, then back down by 1. And that's how you know where you need to stay for a little bit. So if you get to 3, you're doing good. Eventually you're going to up to 4, and then you're going to stay at 4 if you're doing good there. If you get to a point, again, where it's too much, back down by 1. And then the same thing with the ProBio 5. Work your way up to 3, and then we're going to work our way up to 4, because that's how you're going to see the best results. The BioCleanse it's a magnesium supplement. That's good for you. It helps oxygenate our body. It's helping flush everything out. The ProBio 5, it's going to help get that crud out. So instead of, if people are seeing those, slow results, we want to keep them going and keep upping the products to where they need to be. And then maintaining, after they've been there for a while, they can eventually maintain their ProBio 5 at anywhere from 2 to 4. So that's something that can change later. And then if they're also doing good, especially if we're getting close to that 2nd month, that's where we can go back to bringing up that extra product that we talked about before. Because if they're only taking 2 BioCleanse and that's all they need, then guess what? They're not going to get that BioCleanse that 2nd month. So we can add in an extra product that they can try. And that's one that you've already mentioned to them. You've already said, hey, remember when we talked about that multivitamin? I really think that'd be awesome for you. And you could, pop that in this month and maybe you could try it, or maybe you need to swap that for your BioCleanse if you're not getting that, or the Ease, or whatever it may be, the Mega X. So that is why bringing up the products then is really good, and coming back to it, as opposed to now all of a sudden they're not getting 100 PV, and now you're saying, oh, how about you just add in this random product I'm not going to tell you about. You know what I mean? You're already talking with them about that from before and planting those seeds. So if they respond to you in terms of your follow-up, we're going back to another hypothetical. You ask them, how are you doing on the products? And they respond, I'm feeling crummy. I feel like crap. I don't feel good. Something's wrong, or it's not working, whatever. Then you can start talking about detox. You can celebrate with them and say, yay, these products are working. That's a good sign. And don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel like, oh crap, what am I going to do? Detox is a good thing, and we can help get through that. It's temporary, and it means the products are working. So be excited for them, be happy for them, and help them get that contagious spirit from you, as opposed to feeling down about it. So you're going to encourage, you're going to build belief that this is working. We have tons of detox posts and information that you can send them, which is really good. And you're going to remind them that, hey, we're just going to power through. It won't last long. It's going to take time. Again, your body takes time to heal, so this is a good thing, and it's not going to last. And again, go back to the 4 questions. So you're going to troubleshoot by reverting back to those 4 questions I mentioned earlier. So are they being consistent? Are they, what are they taking, how much, and when? And then how much water are they drinking? Because everything goes back to those. If maybe they're taking the products like too much of something, maybe they're not drinking enough water. So that's a huge thing, is the water. And then adding things like detox tips, adding lemon to your water, Epsom salt baths. Maybe they're getting headaches and they need to add a good salt to their diet. And then, of course, if it is too bad, it's lasting a little too long, you can always decrease on the products if need be. But sometimes it's just a couple days, and it's something that they can power through. Sorry, I'm reading these comments here. When is a good reminder for that second bottle of Probio 5 to be able to increase that? When's it a reminder to increase Probio 5? It's if they're doing good on the products, like if they reply that they're doing good and it's been a couple weeks of being on all 3 products, I think it's okay to start upping it to 3 and then eventually 4. So if they're doing good for a consistent couple weeks and everything's going good, I think that's probably good. Yes, good salt for headaches can be a part of a detox, and you could be low on that. So yes, that can help with the sodium. Yep. And what else here? So yeah, those are just some quick things on there. We have tons of, like I said, detox posts and stuff with that. So don't be afraid to send them information, and really encourage them through that as well. Okay, so what if they respond to your question, how are things going? And they say, it's not working. This is just in it for me. I'm done, whatever. So you are not, I'm going to tell you what you're not going to do. You're not going to say, oh, I'm sorry that it didn't work for you. If you ever want to come back, let me know, I'm here. No, you're going to not give up on them. And again, you're going to go back to asking questions. So this is a good spot to remind them of their goals. You can say, oh no, I'm sorry. What's going on? Tell me more. You can jump back to reminding them about their goals, why they initially started. You're going to encourage them and build that belief. I know that these products can work for you. What if this really happened and you were past this struggle and that struggle? We just need some time, consistency. You can remind them of that because you already told them about that a while ago, right? Before they started. And you can say like, hey, let's talk about this. I'd love to help you see the results that you're looking for, and go back to those 4 questions. So you're going to talk again about, are they being consistent every single day? And, chances are they might not be. What are they taking? When are they taking it? If they're not being consistent, that's important. If they are not taking enough of specific products, maybe going back to the water intake, because that helps the products work better. It helps flush things out. So ask those 4 questions. And yeah, so your huge thing right there is don't give up. Be positive. And if you have that third-party validation in there, the third person can come in and help redefine everything that you're saying. So again, you're not giving up on the people that you're trying to help see results here. So it is not the end. I don't get discouraged when I hear that. I'm just like, oh, let's just solve this little problem here. We're going to get past this. Let's move on. What do we got going on? And figure out more. And then finally, what if they say, you ask them how they're doing and they say, I feel great. You know, maybe they're saying, I'm not drinking as much coffee as I did, or I have so much more energy. I love it. Awesome. Celebrate with them, and then take that next step and ask them a question. Hey, what do you think about sharing this on Facebook? I can help you write something up, and I'm sure you have tons of family and friends that would love to feel some of those same things. So use that moment right there to ask them to share. That's another time when they're excited. So you have that time when they're excited when they get their products, and then you have that time when they're excited when they start seeing results. So every time they see a result like that, use that moment to help them celebrate and to share that with other people. If they don't, then bring it back, or ask them if you can share it anonymously. Say, hey, do you mind if I share this? And I won't mention your name. That's a good way for you to share results for people that you know on your team, and your friends and family can see that there's success is happening to people you personally know. That's a huge, huge avenue, and makes a difference, especially when people maybe are, weary of what's going on, or is this really true or that, but then they see that these personal things are happening. That's a great thing to do. So ask them to share. If not, use that and share anonymously yourself. So going back to the 4 questions and kind of troubleshooting them, I want to quick do that here before we wrap up. So the first one was, are they being consistent? So how do we troubleshoot that if they're not? You can set an alarm on your phone until they get into that habit. You can set the products out on like the table or wherever they normally do that. So if they are taking their Slim, set that out on the counter in the kitchen. Their BioCleanse, you can set that out on the counter. Your ProBio 5 set either in your bathroom or your nightstand right before you go to bed. You can even have a bottle of water right there too, so you can have it all handy for you to quick chug. And then if you also put them in your purse. So if you are going out and about, you can take your BioCleanse during the day. If you forget to take your products like the Slim, then you can take it during the day because you have one on you. So the second biggest thing with the consistency is tell them that they can take it anytime. So many people get a hang up in their head. When you tell them this is when you should take the products, they have in their head that they have to take it at that exact time. And if they didn't, oh, they missed a day. So remind them that it's okay to take whenever you remember. If you forget the Slim in the morning, that's okay. Take it later. If you forget the BioCleanse, it's okay. Take it later. Just take it when you remember. And then the second question, how much of each product are they taking? So as you're going to troubleshoot that, maybe they're taking too much and they're feeling the detox. They're feeling crummy and they just can't handle it. It's been too long. If they're having too loose of stools and going too much, back down by 1. So that's where we need the nitty-gritty details. If they're not taking enough, maybe they're only taking 1 ProBio 5 for a month and they're not seeing the results they want to see. Well, they need to be upping it to 2 and then 3 and then 4. So that's why we need to catch it right away by following up consistently instead of waiting too long. And then all of a sudden it's been a month and people are already getting preconceived notions in their head that something isn't working or, whatever it may be. And then when are they taking the products? Troubleshooting that. So maybe they're taking it at the wrong time. Help them adjust that. They should not be taking the ProBio 5 and the BioCleanse together at night before bed if they're not seeing that great of results. Separating those can help possibly see better results with that. So try not to take those together initially, or in general, overall. And if they're detoxing, maybe they need to separate maybe they're taking 4 BioCleanse, but maybe they just need to separate it and take 2 and 2 at different times. So sometimes just playing that around, all our bodies are different. Everything needs to be adjusted differently. And then the last question, how much water? So again, if they're not drinking enough water, tell them to get their favorite water bottle and actually measure out how many of those that they need to drink per day. Figure out how many of those to drink before lunch specifically and kind of get those, measurements in their head so that they can plan that out. They can set reminders on their phone for drinking their water as well. There's some cool water bottles out there that some are linked. I know Brittany has one that's linked to their phone with an app and it tells you how much you're drinking. You have apps on your phone for drinking too. And then there's Jen, there's a girl that was just, one of your girls was just talking about this one where you have bands on it, and then after you drink a whole thing of one of your water bottles, you take the band off, and that counts for one, so you can help keep track of how many water bottles of your water bottle that you're drinking, if that makes sense. So there's different tools out there too. And then bring a water with you wherever you go. Have it on the go with you. When you're in the car, anywhere you go, have that on you. So there's always tips that we can give people. Just got to make sure we're asking the right questions, following up consistently, using the three-way chats, and not giving up on people. So, for detox, I was going to say too, if someone is detoxing, you can have them and they, need to kind of get through that and they're struggling. They can then change their BioCleanse and the ProBio 5 to taking them both at night before bed. That might help with a little bit of detox to do that for temporarily. So I didn't look in this chat recently, but that is all I kind of have, and it looks like we're about good on time. So I think we will end it there. So I'm just going to look through here. But all right, thank you guys for hopping on here, and you all have a great night. I will see you over in Pink Power too, if you guys are hopping over there. So have a great night, guys.